Welcome to week 6, part D, fractions and mixed numbers. The secret word is your favorite thing about school, and it has to be one word. And Rianne put her favorite thing about school is friends, so that's her secret word.
Yeah.
So here are your answers. A is 3 over 4. B is 1 whole. C, 1 and 1/4. D, 1 and 1/4 again. E, 5/4. F, 1/3 plus 1/3. G, 2/3. H, 1/3 5 times. I, 1/3 5 times again. And J, 5 over 3. For this one, you have to make it up by yourself, so we're not going to be sharing. We'll give an example once we're explaining if you didn't understand it, but we're not going to be telling you the answers for that one because it's basically like all the answers, like none of them are incorrect, basically. For adding fractions, 1 is 1 and 2/8. 2 is 2 and 1/3. 3 is 9 over 10. 4 is 2 and 4/6. 5 is 1 and 3/10. And 6 is 1 whole. For A, you add 1 plus 1 plus 1, and you get 3 over 4, and that is your answer. This has to stay the same because the denominators are all... So 4 stays 4 because the denominators are all like the same. So you really don't have to change that. Then for B, it's 4 over 4. And you can put that and it'll be correct. But it also is 1, so that basically equals 1 whole. For C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get 5 over 4. And then that equals to 1 and 1/4. Denominators stay the same. You divide 5 and 4, 1 and 1. And then D, 4 over 4 plus 1 over 4, you get 5 over 4, which equals 1 and 1/4. Then for E, it's if it kind of confuses you with when it comes to like multiplication and fractions, especially like with one whole number, think about it this way. It's basically like 5 1/4. So like 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. So 5 1/4, and you're just adding those all together. This. Okay, so 5 1/4, and then basically you add those all together, and you get 5 over 4, and then that equals 1 and 1/4 again. So then for F, it's really easy. It's just like 1/3 and 1/3. Like what will equal 2/3? And you know 1 plus 1 equals 2, so you just do like 1/3, you add that thirds, and then it'll give you 2/3. So the same thing goes as G and E. 2 times 1/3, basically like 1/3 plus 1/3 plus, and it gives you your answer, which is 2 over 3. 2 over 3. When you add, like, because it's like 2 that you're adding all together. And then for H, you have to like figure out, end up giving you like 5/3. So you have to do like 1/3 5 times. So like times 5, and you get 5 over 3. And then once you have 5 over 3, you change that improper fraction into a mixed number, and you get 1 and 2/3. So that kind of took up some space. I'm just going to kind of divide everything together like that. Okay. So then for this I basically kind of did the same thing. I did 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 5 times. And so 1/3 times 5 again, as I explained when it came to E. So 1/3 times 5, I got 5 over 3 again. Mr. Sarli basically just did the same problems for like each row, except that he just kind of put them all together. He kind of wanted to test you guys to see how many different ways you can solve the same problem and get the same answer, and you guys won't get confused. So 1 2/3. And then for J, I'm actually going to have to find a space up here. So let me just drag this up here. And then I have that. So basically the same thing that I said, 5 times 1/3. So basically 5 1/3. And then you multiply that, or you just do 5 1/3, and you get 5/3 again. And you change this to 1 2/3. So I didn't really give you like any answers for this one because it was like anything that you can come up with. And here's an example of one that I ended up doing. And it's 4/5 equals to 1/5 times 5, which is like 1/5 5 times. So 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, and you get the point.
Okay, for number 1, in the back of part D, since the denominators are the same, then you keep the denominator the same, which is 8, and then you added 7 plus 3, which is 11. Whoops, I'm not even on the page. Anyways, which is 10. So it's 10/8. When you divide to get an improper fraction. Okay, for number 1,
I can become
since
famous. I should make a Vine.
okay, ignoring that part. So for number 1, since the denominator is the same, you put that as a denominator, which is 8, and you add 7 plus 3, which gives you 10. Then you think to yourself, how many times does 10 go into 8? Which is 1 time, and there's 2 left over. That's a 2, yeah. And then over 8. Okay, so for number 2, you add the 2 fractions, which is 2 plus 2, since the denominator is the same. And when you add 2 plus 2, you get 4, which is 4 out of 3. 4 out of 3 is equal to 1 1/3. And you still have this extra 1 that you didn't do anything with. So you add the 1 to 1 1/3 to get 2 2/3, which is your answer. Okay, so for number 3, since the denominators are different, you find the least common factor, which is 10. So 3/5 plus 3/10. Sorry for the messy handwriting. It's just because, yeah. Okay, so from get to 5 to 10, you multiply by 2. And whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So 3 times 2 is 6. And since the denominator is already 10, you multiply it by 1, which gives you the same thing, 3/10. Okay, so since the denominators are the same, you add 6 plus 3, which is equal to 9/10, which is your answer. And for number 4, since the denominators are different, I'm going to make more space for this. Since the least common multiple of 2 and 6 is 6, you have to find a way to get 1/2 with the denominator of 6. To get from 2 to 6, you have to multiply times 3. And whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So times 3, which is 3/6. Okay, and then you add the 1/6 since the denominator is already 6. 3 plus 1 is 4/6. 4/6. And since you still have the 2, you just add it on, since there's nothing else to add. I'm sorry for the messing handwriting. I'm not on my A game today, so yeah. Next page. Okay, so the least common multiple for 2 and 5 is 10. So you have to find a way from 1/2 and 4/5 to get a denominator of 10. So to get to 10 from 2, you have to multiply times 5 to get 10. And whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So 5 times 1 is 5. And then to get from 5 to 10, you have to multiply times 2, which is 8 over 10, since you multiply 4 times 2 to get 8, since whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. And then 8 plus 5 is 13 over 10. Then 10 goes to 13 one time, and there's 3 left over, which makes, and the denominator stays the same, which is 1 and 3/10. And that is your answer, since there's no whole number. So the least common multiple for 2 and 50 is 100. So 1/2, 25 over 50. To get from 2 to 100, you multiply times 25. Oh my god, no, sorry. By 100, I meant 50. So, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So you multiply 25 times 2 to get 100, and then the numerator is 25 times 1 is 50. So hold up. So 1/2 plus 25 over 50. To get from 2 to 50, you multiply 25. Sorry, the page. 25. And then you get 25 over 100 by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by 25. And to get from 50 to 50, you just multiply 1. So 25 over 50 stays the same. Did I just write 100? Oh my god. That 100 meant to be a 50. I'm sorry, because Emily's distracting me. But when you add 25 plus 25, you get 50 over 50. And 50 over 50 is equal to 1 whole. Okay. So that is the end of this week's video from your fave, Emily and Rianne. Thank you for watching.